Hello everyone and welcome back to hrnomad TV. Today is the third day of our poll. So as you know, in LinkedIn I have asked you guys what kind of video content you're really needing the most right now in Corona times. And it's still going on. So if you want me to talk about your specific customized content, you just go on LinkedIn on my profile and vote for the topics you're interested in most, and I will daily produce a content that is just customized on your needs. Okay, for today I was seeing the bar was the highest on agility in HR and on organizational development. So yesterday I was already posting a video on the HR part. And today I would like to focus more on the organizational development part or the business development part, and how can we agilize that? What kind of techniques can we use? And maybe now in Corona times, this is something very interesting. So the topic for now is agility in org development. And as a startup consultant, I'm always looking for, good techniques like a truffle pig that is going somewhere and searching for the really best methods. And I'm really liking creativity and, enhancing or encouraging people to be innovative and creative. That's why I want to introduce you to a so-called serious game. Maybe you've heard of gamification, so topics that in old days we would have done with a workshop, just post-its or having slides. We now try to make it a little bit more fun. So the game is called the meddlersgame. I didn't invent it. It's from Management 3.0. So it's a very cool consultancy firm, one of the startups of Jochen Apollo from the Netherlands. And I really like him a lot, and I think it's 2 years ago I met him first in person in one of his workshops for business agility and innovation. So, and since I adopted many things and I use it also in my own workshops, but I also adjusted it to worked on it and made my own games out of it, but using this material. However, by the way, I'm not getting paid to tell him, I'm just being a fan. And meddlersgame, okay, what is it about? Meddlersgame looks like this. Maybe you've heard about that. So the meddlersgame is a card game you can use, and it is there in order to, or it's an agile way to involve your team in preparing the next organizational structures and setup. So maybe now in Corona times you have been very busy in mostly cutting off some people, some structures, and now you need to reinvent yourself and seek for opportunities. This means also to make a plan or to find together and define strategies or scenarios which could be beneficial for you to go on. And to make this more visible, we will use this kind of cards. And maybe you've seen it, I don't know. It's, from my experience, not many people in Germany know it. Even not in the HR part, even not in the expert, let's say, field. So I'm happy to introduce it to you because I really like it. First of all, these are some of these cards. You have these tiles, different colors, and these tiles are representing teams or units in your company. For example, this one could be your tech team, or this one could be your marketing team. And you play it on the board or on a table. I was also having workshops where they didn't have a lot of space for tables, so they were having a ping pong plate which was dark, and we were using it, you know, on the ping pong plate. So you can be really creative, whatever helps, and you display it here. So what do you do with this kind of cards? You can think of potential scenarios in the future. Maybe you can have two you want to play with, and later on decide which one you like most and which one you want to go for. However, these are the units you want to have, and you play it like, okay, how close will they work together? The closer they work together, you will make the tiles lay down closer together. The more they're apart, the more you draw them away from each other. This is the basic principle, and it makes relations to each other very much visible, which I like. So this is one principle. Then we will have here, what's that? You can see this is little people heads. So this represents people, or FTE, full-time equivalents, as we say in HR or in people business. So this means different people, and you can say, okay, this represents how many people actually work, and you can drop them here on the different tiles and say, okay, these persons are working in this team. And now then we have a third part, and which is heads. We have little funny heads, a crown, you know, many different ones, a trapper, whatever. And what does it mean to have these kind of heads? Heads represent the roles that people have within the team. So, and you define while playing which kind of roles you will need in this future structure you have in mind. You will also have a legend. You'll see many roles are here, and in the team you will describe what kind of role you actually need, and describe, okay, it could be Scrum Master, Product Owner, or Agile Coach, or whatever role you will need in this team. And then what happens is you say, okay, this is maybe the team, and you have that girl, she's a full-time equivalent, and she should be, I don't know, she is maybe a Scrum Master. So you put her the hat of the Scrum Master on the top, so everybody knows what kind of role she has within the team. And of course you can vary here. Many people can share or can work in two different teams, so you need to have the same head in different tiles on different teams. Or you could also say, okay, maybe one person has many roles, so you put one head or two heads or three heads on top of a person. However, if you put too many of them here, the person will probably not be visible anymore, and it might be a good thought or think about if that might be too many roles for one person. So whenever you don't see the person underneath anymore, it might be too much. So this is very much, you know, you make very much visible what happens, and it helps you to reorganize yourself in a new sense, and you can play it. And when you see, okay, this might not be the right person, or this might be not the right structure, you can rearrange things, experiment around. And what is nice as well, you can also draw lines. If it's on the table, what we did in, let's say, for example, with the one client in that didn't have a good big table, we used the ping pong table. That was a chalk table, or let's say dark, and we used chalk writers, which are rewritable, so easy to remove. So in between this kind of tiles, you can draw lines. Let's say here and here, you can draw lines and dependencies in between, and you can say, okay, how should be the communication part? Which kind of process, the process part, should we consider? And then you will see maybe bottlenecks that might arise in between the communication, in between the dependencies, or if you, you will see, okay, maybe we need less or more people or more responsibilities in order to make the flow really go on. And what I like a lot is it's playful, it's fun, it's a way, an agile way to involve your team. The team can actually decide how they want to continue. So you could, as a leader, you could say, okay, this is the framework, this is maybe the budget, whatever, but they will try to find out the best method, the how. They will decide how they will actually want to be working together, and which could be a good structure. So, and yes, it's an agile way, as I said. And what I did with my clients so far is I used these cards. I'm a big fan, I already mentioned that. And I adjusted it and made it customized for my clients. So you can go on using these cards and adjust it to just your situation, your individual situation. You can, if you think about maybe 1, 2, or 3 scenarios you could imagine for your future, we could play 1 or 2 different versions, and then in the end you see those results. It's more visible, you see the total effect and the dependencies, and then it's easier for you guys to decide which strategy you want to follow. And I also recommend to have this on a regular base. You can also do that or implement that in your monthlies or in your sprints. Let's say if you're using OKR, so every 3 months or something to check up, you can use that. And now after Corona time, it's maybe a good way to bring people also together in person for some time. Remote work is still something very important, I know. However, to keep your people together, it's also good now in summertime to have an offsite, something offline as well, where you bring people together. And you can use it also outside. Did I mention I have a co-working camper you could rent to have this kind of side events, and which you can use also for workshops outside in nature if you want. So check out on my website that you can find more info about that. However, what I wanted to say as well is, if you like to gamify on, if you want to make it a challenge game, you could also use dices. I invented something as well where you can have a challenge on time, or you can have difficulties with extra cards. I was developing extra cards where you can, make it more difficult, more on speed, or where you have specific influence out from outside coming to your teams, and they play with it, and they are getting to use or they are training to react in a really quick and agile way, in learning also the mindset to adapt their strategies as soon as possible. Because, agility is not just having once a plan and then following it up for the rest of the year. No, you also need to train your ability to adjust to outside effects as quick as possible. So we can simulate that as well by gaming and making different scenarios that are interfering and disrupting also this kind of play with your teams, and then they can train slowly to get that kind of mindset you actually need to continue being also more agile. So this is what I do and what I recommend. You can use these kind of cards there. You can buy them on the website of Management 3.0. I don't get any money to promote that. It's really something I like to do. It's, I think, 19 euros of cost plus VAT plus parcel. However, and if you want to gamify it on, if you want to make it more reliable to you, if you want to gamify it or make it a challenge, I'm of course a startup consultant, and I could happily help you out. We can talk together and make this kind of workshop together, so you know what kind of situations you can play with it, and you're also independent to continue on yourself. So this is the tip for today, how you can agilize your teams, how you can agilize and define new org structures. Maybe now in these times it's something really nice and happy and playful after this kind of difficult and fearful time, to bring back some joy, to bring people back together, have a nice event which is playful, which makes fun. So I would recommend it to you. Now let me know how you think about it. If you like it, subscribe my channel, write me a comment, or if you want me to go more into depth, let me know what kind of topics you want me to talk about. And in this sense, see you tomorrow. Bye bye. Have a nice day.